Kill me. He's a grown man. I'm a grown man. His dick is in my face.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just so different than me.
That's a great quote.
Yeah. I'm standing next to him. We do a countdown. It's hilarious because it's me. You know, I was like, Shaq, count him down. He goes 3, 2, 1, go. And you know, the people go and do their stuff. It was really cool because he liked the show. So it was fun, like, having him co-host with me for a day.
Sure.
But it's just so ridiculous. I'm like a little child standing next to this giant. Super nice guy, though.
Jonathan Ogden, the offensive tackle, 6'8", like 340 played at. And his hands, he just held two of my little fingers and was like, nice to meet you. And just squeezed a couple of fingers. And I realized my hand couldn't even, like, get around, like, even simulate a handshake.
Yeah.
And he also, like, had a conversation with somebody, like, as I was talking to him, like, down here. I was like, yeah, so it's cool to meet you. He was like, yeah, man, so this other thing. And I was like, I'm down. So I'm like, down. I was like, hey, man. Like a kid, like when your kid walks up to you and they're talking to you and you're talking to another adult and you're like, just hold on. And you're talking to the adult and you're like, but daddy. And you're like, just hold on. And you just talk over them. He did that to me like I was a child. And then I just looked up at him and I was like, it was nice to meet you. He, like, patted the top of my head.
Yeah, man, go about your business.
It was not like a human, though. It was like a fucking superhuman.
Yeah, it's amazing the variance. You know how much people vary in height and size like that, but yet we're still in the same species.
Yeah.
But a guy like Shaquille O'Neal, it's such an extreme version of it.
Huge.
He's a friendly guy though. Super nice guy. Yeah. Mike Goldberg did a whole season of Shaq versus with him.
Oh yeah,
he did a bunch of different shit. Like he would go box Oscar De La Hoya, and it was kind of funny. He did a bunch of different things.
I am. Do you know the comic Bruce? You know him?
Yes.
He's a big dude, big enormous guy. Not that tall, but
right,
like 300+ pounds.
Right.
I sat next to him on a flight. Did I tell you this already?
No.
And I'd never met him before, and I recognized him. So I was like, hey man, like I'm a comic, and he was like, oh yeah, he's super fucking nice, and he's just this big, giant looking.
Can I guess where this story goes?
Where?
Sleep apnea.
No.
Okay.
No.
So 10 minutes into the flight,
he's got braids and shit. So we get delayed. First of all, we're flying L.A., Atlanta, and then I'm going on to Lauderdale. He lives in Atlanta, I guess. So everybody that comes on the plane who's black says something to him. And I'm like, do you know these people? And he's like, no, they're just fans. I was like, everybody on the plane just stopped. And they tell us there's a delay. You can get off the plane if you want. And some girl walks by, and she's like, you need something? And he's like, oh, I love something like a candy bar. And she's like, okay. I'm like, who's that? So that lady's just buying you candy now? He's like, yeah. Okay.
Whoa.
And sweet, like, I can't tell you how sweet a guy he is. So we get delayed. The girl comes back, gives him candy, and like, I love you. Like, thank you, sweetie. She goes back. We take off. We start talking comedy, and he's like, I'm doing this tour with, I'm touring with this person. I'm doing shows with these people. And I'm asking him like, oh, what do you think of so and so? And we're talking back and forth about people. He's like, I'm doing this show right now where I'm doing some theaters with Mike Epps. I'm opening like for him at these massive theaters, and I was like, Mike Epps is a funny fucking dude, like just a naturally funny guy. And we're just like talking shit.
Right.
He's like, oh yeah, like I just turn any situation funny. Like, yeah, but ain't no motherfucker funnier than Andy Griffith. And I was like, what? Like, what'd you just say? He was like, Andy Griffith. I was like, are you
not Eddie Griffin?
Right. Are we talking about Andy, like the whistle shit? Yeah. He's like, oh man. I'm like, are you serious right now? He's like, you ever been to the Andy Griffith Museum? I'm like, what kind of question is that, man? Like what?
What kind of question?
And he's like, oh man, they got the car from the show. You can sit in the car. They have like a set, like with the kitchen. They used to show the kitchen. You can go there. You get all the Andy Griffith shit you ever want. I'm like, are we in the real world right now?
He loves Andy Griffith.
Man, I was like, I don't think I like anything as much as you like Andy Griffith. He's like, I love Andy Griffith. And I was like, clearly. And he knew. He was like, I'm not exaggerating. He was like, there's two black actors that ever appeared on the Andy Griffith show. And I was like, Wow. He's like, one was February 8th, 1963.
What?
The role of Tony.
Are you saying the right date, or are you just
No,
making up
I'm
the
making
date?
up the date, but he
Well, you
knew the
gotta
date.
let these people know.
All right, he knew the date. He knew.
Something Google.
He knew the exact date, and he knew the role and the episode. And then he's like, the other one was April 19th, 1968, and that was when remember they couldn't find the mail. I had not seen these
What
episodes.
the fuck? Remember when they couldn't find the
Like-
mail?
I was like, I swear to God. I was like,
Holy
he's like,
shit.
Andy Griffith is the shit, man. I was like, Andy Griffith, really?
Andy Griffith
He
is the shit.
fucking loves Andy Griffith, man.
Wow. There's a lot of people that are like that pay homage to the classics. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like there's dudes who really get into like old movies and TV shows and.
I mean, I've met like super fans of some things that you don't expect, but that for me was so out of left field.
I saw Carol Burnett the other day.
You did?
Yeah, she looked good. She looked good. I'm telling you, man. I mean, I think the lady is in her late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
She looked very healthy,
She-
smiling,
she
laughing,
worked
talking to people.
She that show was great.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
great show. It was interesting. We were talking about this the other day. Like there was like a big wave of woman-run shows back in the day, where the woman was a star. There was Laverne and Shirley. There was Mary Tyler Moore. There was Rhoda. There was Maude. Remember Maude? You know. And then there's Maude. And then there's Maude. Right on Maude. You don't remember that? There was a show. That was like a big popular show. And then there was the older lady who used to be a model, ran the newsroom. The fuck was that?
Oh yeah.
Boring ass.
Murphy Brown.
Murphy Brown, that
Yeah.
boring ass, hypnotic. What did they do to get people to watch that show for all those years?
Yeah.
What kind of
long time?
hypnotism program did they
Roseanne?
run?
That was the
Roseanne?
show.
Yeah.
95.
Yeah, there was a
Lucy.
gang of them. But I mean, the era of Carol Burnett was like, there was a lot of Lucille Ball. There was a bunch of them. There was
Yeah.
a bunch of them, like really strong women comedian presences.
Yeah.
It's like that has changed quite a bit now. Like the role that women have on these, like, you know, you have like girls like Chelsea who have their own show, you know, but it's like her personality. It's not like her being the head of a sitcom.
Right.
And then there's
Whitney.
who had a show that people didn't respond to that well, but then people said, well, it's going to be tweaked and they're going to figure it out. But
Yeah.
genuinely, people seem to like her. She just has to find like the right vehicle.
Right.
How many of them are there these days? It's not like it used to be.
Yeah, well, especially well, also where they need to, you know, where they're getting their shot. You know what I mean? Like you know, like how many people are getting the opportunity to have their show? You know?
Yeah.
Because the talent, there's still talent. There's a bunch of talent out there. Like you know, there's definitely talented comics, female, male comics out there. They have to get a shot to get their show. That seemed to be like that was an overdrive in that era that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like if you were
Of women.
a good, women, but also
Yeah.
I think just comics too. Like there's an era of pushing the comic to get the show. And here's the thing that's funny that when you're like, how come not that many stand-up, let's say, have a show right now?
Right.
Like have like an extension of the comic. You look back on that era, and all of those shows were hits. Like the stand-up where the comic was the lead, a lot of those were hits, man.
Yeah, there was a few bombs though. I
Oh,
was
there's always-
I was there for a few.
Yeah, but there's
I watched a few.
there's
I
a
was a
lot
part
of-
of a few.
But
I
there's
had my
some-
own sitcom
You did?
pilot for NBC once. Yeah, it was called Overseas. I don't even think it ever aired anywhere, even as a pilot.
You shot the pilot, though?
Yeah, it was a super expensive pilot. But the thing about like those development deals they try to do at stand-ups is that they would just throw a bunch of money at a comic and then get a bunch of like, you know, writers that supposedly had some success on other shows and throw as much shit against the wall and see how much of it sticks.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's real hard for you to take the one thing that you're fucking awesome at, which is stand-up. The one thing that you really you can completely express yourself. You're uncensored. You're producing it. You're directing it. Nobody's interfering with your vision of how the joke should play out. And there's a big difference between that and being on a sitcom set. And that difference is. It's really fun being on a good sitcom.
Mhm.
It's terrible being on a bad sitcom. It's terrible, and it's not as much fun. It's not as rewarding as doing stand up. It's just not. You know, for me at least.
Yeah.
It's like it's fun doing like a cool sitcom, but if I had a choice between watching like the best sitcom ever or watching Richard Pryor do stand up, I want to watch Richard Pryor. That's the best stuff. The best stuff is stand up. So it's like you do shit that's not as good as the best stuff, and it's just because they're paying you to do it. That was how I was feeling about it. And that thing that you don't really love to do and that they're paying you to do takes all day. And then you don't have as much energy or time left over for the thing that you do love to do.
I can see that.
So the only reason why you should do it is to get exposure for your stand-up.
Yeah, which I hear, like, I mean, some of the comics that really like doing comedy, doing stand-up, that's, you know, generally what you hear them say is, like, it's going to drive more people to see my show.
Yeah, that's how it should be. That's how it should be, man. That's how it should be. It's, the art of stand-up comedy didn't get any respect for a while in the 80s, I think, as an end destination. Because everybody was like, you gotta get a sitcom. You gotta get a sitcom. That's what Jerry Seinfeld did.
When did you do
this guy did?
your pilot in terms of like your career? Like,
I did it in the middle of news radio.
Oh, in the middle
while I was doing news radio. Yeah, because it was the same producer. So see, and that show spoiled the shit out of me, man. Because they were so good. The writers were so good, and they were crazy. They were so nuts. They wouldn't even start a script till like 2:00 in the morning sometimes, and they would show up, and it would be like tape day. Or rather, rehearsal day, and we would get like the first 30 pages, and then or the first 5 pages, or whatever it was. So like, we're gonna give you the rest later. And then scene 2 would come down at noon, and they would shuffle down barefoot and slap it down. They would go back, and they would get to this state of sleep deprivation and come up with this really silly shit. And I suspect it was because nobody had informed them about the benefits of weed. Really? Yeah, I think if those guys were stoners, they weren't stoners. If those guys were stoners, what they did sober was brilliant. You know, if those guys were high, they could have come up with the most silly and ridiculous show in the history of the universe.
How many seasons was that show?
5 seasons.
5?
Yeah. No, it was just too short of syndication, like the normal syndication length.
Oh man,
it is in syndication.
Oh, it is in syndication.
But it's two episodes short. We only did 98 instead of 100. You're supposed to have 100 so that they can sell it. Yeah. But it didn't become popular until after it was canceled.
Really?
Yeah, it became popular when it would air on TV during like regular TV time, like 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock and late night and shit like that when it was syndicated. And then people were like, this show's kind of fucking funny.
Yeah.
It just got monkeyed around back then, man. Back in the day when news radio was out, nobody knew where the fuck you were. If they moved you from like Monday to Wednesday, you're done, kid. Nobody knows.
The other thing, like more to your point about the, you know, when you're just in charge of your stand-up.
Yeah.
It shows, man, you're talking about so many people are giving their input. You know, like the executives, the producers, the writers. Like it's so many people. We should really do this. We should really do that.
Yeah. Well, I don't like it when you come out that way. Yeah. I don't like it when you do that. I don't like it when you. Oh, stop, please. I don't care. I only do this one way. You know, and the only way I'm going to get advice is from funny people. I can't get advice from someone who's a business person. It's like, I just got to tell you that I think that approaching it this way.
When they give you a comedy note, that's just like.
I had a conversation with a guy and I was talking about a podcast. He goes, you guys have really nailed down your brand. And I'm like, ew, you're gross.
Yeah.
That's the last thing we've done. Nailed down our brand. Ew. Yeah. He's like, you know, I go, what do you mean by that? It's like, well, you know, people know what kind of, you know, what you're putting out there. It's like, you know, you've really like well defined your brand. Mm-hmm. Ew. Why my brand? What is that?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
They love that
bitch. It's like showbiz talk. Well, we're trying to, right now, we're working on this development deal. We just don't want to sign it anyway. We really want to work on developing this brand. Yeah. Brand. Are you a bottle of ketchup, you fuck? Why do you need a brand? You silly bitch. If you're that defined, then you become immobile. You become locked into an emo Phillips type character.
Oh yeah.
Imagine going to see emo Phillips and he tries to do straight stand up. You're like, hey, fuckhead, why aren't you acting like you're poison?
Weird it up, man.
Weird it up, shithead. What's this you just standing there telling me about butter? Okay, get a move on with. I came to see your fucking funky act.
I love it, man.
Well, if you're not gonna do it, where's Judy Tenuta?
I want to see your weird shit.
Yeah, I'm here to see your did you ever notice? How do you go from doing that to trying to do just regular stand-up? I don't give him shit because I know he tells his opening acts not to swear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've heard from dudes who wrote. I don't know exactly. I wasn't really there. It could have been a bunch of bitter twats.
Yeah.
But I don't remember who it was. They said he got harassed for being too dirty, opening for him.
That sucks.
It might have been Heffron. God, I wish I remember who it was.
I've had it.
Gotta get him back in here, man.
I've had it said passive
I
aggressively.
love Heffron.
Before me, opening for somebody like, say fuck a lot, huh? And you're like,
Oh,
do I? And they're like, oh no, it's not a thing. You're like, you just made it a thing because you just hinted that
Well,
it was a thing.
In Boston, they used to always decide, like headliners would decide who would open for them, and they would, they'd get him out of here. He breaks the fuck meter. It was like that was like the big thing. They didn't want to go on after anybody dirty.
Yeah.
Because if you wanted to have any sort of shock value to your comedy whatsoever, but that just means your comedy's not that good.
Yeah.
That's how I always felt. Sure. The best guys can go on after anybody. It doesn't matter. I've seen, it's just, especially when people know who they are. Like, I got a chance to see Hedberg a bunch of times, and I saw Hedberg in front of people who were fans, and I got to see a Hedberg in front of people who had no idea who he was. And there's a big difference, man. Hedberg had some real hard times on the road because he had this really low-key, hilarious act, but it was really low-key. And when someone would be fucking doing cartwheels and shooting firecrackers out of their ass, and especially when you go on the road, I mean, there's some dudes who have some elaborate fucking closing routines involving singing and all kinds of crazy shit. And Hedberg would have to go on after those and boom. But then Hedberg started going on in front of his own audience, and he would just destroy. He would get out there, hey, what's up? And they would just yeah. I saw that. I got to see both. So I got to see people who truly appreciated what Hedberg was doing.
The unedited version of his presents, you get to see an audience come all the way around for him. Because if you see the aired version, you can't tell.
Yeah.
But if you get, I think it's one of his early CDs. It comes with a DVD of his unedited presents, and they filmed it with these audience companies that what do you need an audience for? And they just, instead of bringing in fans of his,
right.
So he starts and it's just they're not responding really, and he keeps saying this is the Mitch Hedberg, not so special. And he keeps saying that, and they find you see there's a moment where they start to 10, 15 minutes in, they come around.
We're off the air, bro.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we just fell off the air.
Oh shit.
This portion is only for the people on iTunes. And Stitcher. And some other shit.
Rate, review, and subscribe.
What happened? Oh, the internet unplugged. You silly bitch. What? It's not that?
iTunes listeners, what's up?
Yo, iTunes in the house. Is our internet down here? No, it's not. No, it's up. I just checked. Silly. Just me and Tommy will talk for the iTunes folks. And you get everything wired out there, kid. Yeah, we haven't figured this whole thing out yet. I think I gotta move to in the next setup. I have to move to a more robust system.
Do you have a setup coming?
Yeah. I'm wondering how much bandwidth it costs to stream something like this, like what Ustream does. Is there a way to handle this outside of Ustream? I wonder if you throw the right resources in it. Is it possible for someone to run their own streaming video type server, or is it too bandwidth intensive, too expensive? I don't know. I don't understand all this shit.
Yeah, I definitely don't understand.
And I don't understand how much actual data gets transmitted in these flash files. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I definitely don't know.
But it's unfortunate that it crashes sometimes. I would like something that never crashes. I just don't think that's possible. But Ustream seems to crash, or our connection to Ustream crashes, or Ustream producer crashes, literally every 4 or 5 times, right?
Yeah.
What do you say, Brian?
Well,
1 out of 10.
I
maybe?
don't think it does it too much on the Mac. I think.
So you think that's what it is? We need to go back to the Mac?
Yeah, I would definitely be using the Mac for this. Right now, I can't
All right.
find Ustream.
We'll try that again. When we get back. Tommy Buns, you gonna get the iPhone 5?
I am.
You are. You ready? Are you gonna wait in line like a stooge?
No, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to Radio Shack because they get them and nobody goes there.
Yeah. How's that?
I don't know, but I have one near where I live, And every time they're like, we have like every new release that comes out for everything comes here, but nobody lines up here.
Well, they don't have AT&T though. I think they have Sprint.
Do they?
They have AT&T as well. Well, they have iPhones now because Sprint has the iPhone, but Sprint didn't have the iPhone for a long time.
Either way, I'm not doing the fucking line.
You're gonna do the line, and you're gonna love it.
No.
Why wouldn't you just order it?
And you're gonna play with yourself while you're in your line.
That's fine. And pictures of feet. That's fine.
And you're gonna just lick your face.
Yeah.
Thinking about your iPhone.
I'm excited.
All the pictures of your dick you're gonna take with it.
Oh, so many. There's got to be a panoramic function.
There's gonna be like a thing where you can drop press the button and then drop it to the floor, so it sees your dick and takes like 1 million pictures as it's tumbling to the ground.
Your cock just looks
Your
like
dick
it's
is
an
just
adventure.
like you're jumping off a cliff and
I
like
can't wait.
you almost grabbed your dick and
You're gonna get
saved.
it, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I am a fool.
Are you gonna get the line?
Oh yeah, I might have to get in line. I'll do
Really?
whatever I have to do.
Really?
I'll probably get the bug and then just want it badly.
I like it, man.
I'd be willing to wait in line for like an hour. No, half an hour. Half an hour.
Oh, all right.
I'd like listening
So
to
you
some
tap
music.
out.
I was just thinking about how long does it take? How long is this line? Half an hour?
Just order it. You order it and you just ship it to you.
Yeah. But
You get it the same day.
when you want it immediately. But what will hold me over is that Samsung Galaxy S3.
I wanna see it, man.
Shit,
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Yeah, I'll pull it out. Which
I did have somebody take a picture with it, and the screen was beautiful.
it's insane. And you know what else it can do? It can take a blast of photos. It can take like 10 photos in a row.
Like a high speed.
Yeah, it does some weird thing where it can, you can jump up in the air and it'll capture like 10 different pictures.
It's amazing.
Like if the deer that I got in my backyard.
Which, by
or
the
if
way,
you jerking photos of them.
when I went to the bathroom, they were going full on, running fast back and forth like for no reason. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what are these guys doing?
They just run around, man.
Your house is surrounded by crazy deer.
Yeah, but they're this is like where they feel comfortable because my dogs can't get. Listen, they're nice animals. Who cares?
You're right. You're
They're lucky. They're lucky that it's not legal to shoot them.
Yeah. Would you shoot him?
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with deer. It's not a problem in my neighborhood because nobody drives fast. It's a pretty quiet area. But if you have this many deer near a main road, it becomes a real problem.
Yeah.
People all over the world crash into deer. I mean, it's just a fucking really common way that people get injured and cars get fucked up.
Fucked up. I've seen ruined from deer.
That big. Think of that. How big that deer was, and if that hit the windshield, let's break your fucking face, man.
Yeah.
And if the thing's still alive, and kick in, and glass is flying in your eyeballs.
And it was a motorcycle.
Yeah, you literally have to kill those things.
Yeah.
You have to kill them. And PETA people don't want to admit this, but there's one of two options, okay? You either assume your position at the top of the food chain and deal with the problem, or you bring something else in and you're no longer at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're going to have to deal with this issue.
What do
They prey everywhere. So you either eat it or you bring in predators. That's all you can do.